Welcome back to training, and now we're going to go on to manual capturing of a policy. So the system itself lends itself to the fact that we are automatically integrated to Signio, Seriti, VAPS Consulting, so we can automatically import products from those 4 platforms if you are a VAPS provider. We're also integrated with iPlatform, so we can also automatically bring in information from a cell if you're in a call center environment. So those items are already covered for you as you need them. So what do we need the manual captures for? Well, in some cases, what's happening is that your dealerships may not close off their deals in good enough time at the end of the month. Now, in a case like Signio, we do not get the deal if it has not been fully closed off and the disclosure has been uploaded to the Signio platform. Signio refuses to send it to us. However, in Seriti, we get anything from a draft to a finalized stage. So we get more information from that side. But you might find that this was a manual deal, or let's say something happened and they had to do the deal in one of these old-fashioned booklet forms. But this is the way to handle a manual capture. Whether you are doing it from a platform or from a system where something has gone wrong and you now need to capture this to make your books balance. So let's have a look at Synaptic. So as we've mentioned before in many other training videos, you would be watching this 4th, I believe. So your system will always come into view policies under your policy administration tab. Now, as the product administrator, you should have the option to go into product sales. But you are a UMA, so that means you cannot actually directly sell a product to a client. You need to sell this under a license of some description. So usually what's going to happen is, because this would have been sold by one of your particular branches, brokers or clients, you are going to configure yourself to that particular branch or broker. So we're going to just go in here into Llewellyn, and we're going to say Llewellyn's Motors, because you know that client exists. We're going to say assume client now. So now immediately you'll see here that your Synaptic client has been assumed and that you have got Llewellyn's Motors in your title bar. That means you are working under the guise of Llewellyn's Motors. Now, this is a lot of options that you've got here. So effectively for VAPs and for monthly, you've got new sell, which will be for your VAP products, new monthly sell, which will be for your monthly products, and new workshop quote, which will be for workshop sell products. Now, for this purpose, they all work very much identically, but we're going to go new sell because that's got the most amount of information. So when you click on new sell, we're going to sell a VAP type product to the client. Now, immediately we're going to have a look at, is the client existing in the database already? We search on that, it'll show me yes, the client exists and already has a warranty under this dealership. So we're going to say next. It's up to you now to either go and investigate that warranty, see if you want to change it, see what you would like to do with it, and whether or not you're going to sell a new one. Right, so once you've gone next and you get into the screen, you are now going to see the client details. It is now up to you to sit here and change the client details or amend them as necessary. So you can now change the client details. You can check the address details, you can check the postal address details, or same as above. While capturing, you've also got the option for department if you are working in the state environment. The representative, if there's a particular representative that represents that state department. And then the region, so where that state department is. So all the information listed at the bottom here will be for government-based contracts. If you do not have government-based contracts, this information will not show for you. You can then also add in the account numbers of the client. So I can either add new, or I can go back and find one that was previously loaded if it is still valid. Now, for a VAP sale product, you really don't need this information. So you can skip it, and it will allow you to skip it if it's not monthly. If you are working in the monthly section, as I'm indicating here, then effectively this you will not be able to skip. But for now, let's go next. Just the reason for the change that I made. Okay, now it'll tell you the client's got an existing vehicle. So if you have a say you'd like to use it, you say yes. It's going to ask you what vehicle you want to use. So you're going to use one of the vehicles that have been loaded against this client. Your other alternative is select no. and then you'll be able to redo the vehicle details. In fact, we can do it now by dropping down, finding the vehicle manufacturer, then finding the local model name, and that will also readjust the M&M code. So you can either use new vehicle or existing vehicle depending on what you're trying to sell this client. Once that's done, you have to enter in all the other information. So the present kilometers of the vehicle, the date or year the vehicle was manufactured, the color of the car, the price of the car, the chassis, the VIN number, the engine number, the registration number. So just some quick tips. Your chassis number has to be valid, otherwise this will not process. Your engine number has to be filled in, otherwise this will not go through. And if you do not have a vehicle registration number, you are allowed to tick vehicle not yet registered. Upon leaving that block, it will already give you an error, but then you can go back and say not yet registered, and it will allow you to not load a registration number in. But as this vehicle has been registered, we're going to leave it like that. The parts that you can leave out are the color, and we don't mind you leaving the date at 1900. That is the default date we set. You can leave out additional model information. So if you want to put in TFSI, for example, you can do that. Again, nonsensical, you don't have to. This is just maybe for you, for certain notes that you're doing on the vehicle itself. What happens then is we look for a stock number. This is also optional, it's not inherent. And you look at the finance bank. So let's just add in the finance bank and we get a finance bank account number. F&I Sales Manager is not inherent, although if you have it, let's load it in. And it'll bring through the Debella code that is loaded for that particular dealership. If you have a Debella invoice number, you can load it in here, but again, it's not a required field. However, platform reference will be. So if you are capturing this from a piece of paper or from another document, that document should have a number on it. So let's just say that that was that. For example, for the time being, you took this from a piece of paper on an old policy structure where the booklet had a carbon copy paper at the back of it. Save and next. Now it's going to come down to what are you going to capture. So now we look at this and say, where's all this going? So at the moment, we do not have any bolt-ons or add-on products. So we've got no tire and rims for this dealership. We have no top-up covers for this dealership. Those will normally land up in this section that I'm revolving my mouse on now. Any non-underwritten or service and maintenance products will now appear on the right-hand side here. So if you have any of those, they'll list down here, and you can select these multiple times. So you can select a maintenance plan, interior care, exterior care, whatever's listed here, you can select. And it'll ask you for prompting as you go along by loading the product. Warranties all land up at the top here because you can only sell one product or one warranty at a time. Then you can say this was a Debella submission or not, so you know where to look for the product's payment coming in. And when does the product initiate? So you can future date that if you wish, or you can keep it at the date and time today. And when you are happy that you've loaded this correctly, what you're going to do is you're going to then say initiate and print the policy. That will now initiate the policy for sale within this thing. So in this case, we already have a policy number for this client, which is loaded under that policy number for this particular broker, Llewellyn Motors. So it's not going to allow me to add a secondary policy to it. So it will have to stop at this point. Once you've hit the initiation print, what it's going to do is going to give you the policy number, and it's going to print out for you the policy document. Once that's happened, your policy is successfully loaded into the system, and you're going to get a document that looks like what I'm going to show you. So if the client wasn't loaded on the system before and you have been able to initiate the policy, literally it'll pop up the policy number, and then after that it'll pop up the policy document. And that's what I'm showing you now on screen. This is the default policy document. It'll show up the insurer's information at the top of the policy document because this is an underwritten product, and you are literally going to show the insured information. You're going to see the motor vehicle information, your dealership information or selling dealer details, and you're going to see the products purchased on that particular car. You'll then see all the telephone numbers, and you're going to see the administration numbers for all the clients and all the parties concerned in this particular policy, and your disclosure on commission and vehicle inspection fee. Then there is some important warnings and information on that particular policy document with the signature of the person who prints this document. This is customized for each client of ours as they sign up on the system. So that is it. You can now send this policy to the client, or you can just close this down if the client has got already a Signio or Seriti policy document on hand. And once that's done, we are now completed with our section. So now you are able to say the client capturing is complete. The next section that we're moving on to now will be on how to reconcile the policy to get that into an active status prior to payment. See you in the next video.